Alright, Choplifter. Yes, I used to play this game a lot as a kid. It was so much fun as a kid, but when I play it now, oh my god, is it hard. I don't understand. I don't remember it being this hard when I was a kid. I remember at least passing the first level, getting to level 6 or something before I got my ass handed to me, but no. I play it now, I tried for like over an hour, I was getting so pissed off, I couldn't beat the first friggin' level. Like, why is this so hard? Like, first of all, what makes it hard is these stupid frigging jets that come in. And I'm guessing the emulated version's very, very fast. So, but when I see a jet coming, I don't get a chance to react before it slaughters me or shoots me down. Every time, almost. I'm guessing the actual game was probably slower. But I also remember that I didn't think that jets came into play until like a few levels later. It was just tanks at first, I thought. And the tanks are easy. You just, don't sit there on the ground too long, and you're pretty good. And I should say the whole point of this game is to your helicopter that takes off, and you have to save innocent civilians or people in need from their burning houses. I'm guessing the tanks blew them up. Pretty poor shooting tanks. They can't seem to kill these people. They just calmly stand there and wave at you as tanks are rolling around shooting. Anyway, all you had to do is save a set amount of people, and you beat the level. Like I said, I tried playing this a million times over when I made this footage, and I couldn't even beat the first level, but there's not much to it past this level anyway. So, yeah, simplistic game. Your helicopter saves people. It gets your ass handed to you by jets that shoot you down. And one thing I have to point out is how your helicopter makes farting sounds when you die, just like a real helicopter.
Rebel base in range.
You may fire when ready.
Commence primary ignition.
Spare Change. This is an action game that I used to play a lot as a kid. You play as this funny-looking guy that's running around, and then there's these two twin monsters that annoy you throughout the entire game. That's their point. And you'll first notice the really catchy music. That's one thing I liked about this game, is the music, how much effort they put into it. But aside from that, the gameplay itself was, I guess for me at the time, was different. So the whole objective of this game is to collect tokens, and what you have to do is put these tokens into these two boxes here. Once you fill up the bottom box and you get to the top box, the main exit to the stage opens. And each time you exit the stage, it doesn't necessarily take you to level 2, but depending on how many tokens you have in the top box, will determine how many money jars you get in the bar at the bottom. And so say you have 4 coins in the top box, you get 4 jars every time you exit the stage. And when you eventually get the whole bar full of money jars, you progress to the second level, and so the game gets progressively harder. Now, during this entire time of trying to collect tokens, you got these stupid twin monster things running around stealing your tokens and trying to fill up their piggy bank. If you fill up the piggy bank with too many coins, it busts and they win, and game is over. So the game's a little bit easier said than done. But there are ways to distract these monsters from taking your tokens, or buying yourself more time to collect tokens, such as a jukebox, which just plays music and distracts them, causing them to dance the entire time, where you have some time to run around and collect tokens. Or the payphone, which you'll see in level 2, which has them chatting to each other back and forth while you're collecting tokens. And level 3, which is as high as I got playing this when I was trying to capture footage, is a popcorn machine, which just sits there and pops and they dance around it. I find a jukebox seems a little less effective after level 1. Like, sometimes it won't play the full song, it'll just play part of the song and quit. And in level 3 especially, they get really vigorous, so stupid monsters, and they steal your coins really fast, and you don't get much time to collect them. So it's a pretty fun game for its time, though. I mean, again, back in the day, you have a lot more time to play these games, so I would sit there non-stop till I got to level, who knows, 6 or 7 before I got impossible. I also thought this game was multiplayer, but turns out it's not. I almost swear my brother used to play. Either he played as the monsters or he just played 2 players, but I guess not. I must have made that up. Oh, I should also mention in between rounds, in between levels, you get these funny cutscenes or intermission videos, kind of like Pac-Man did with each time you beat one of their levels, so it's kind of neat. One other side story I want to mention about this game, which is not really relevant to the game so much, is this is one of the few games we had for Atari that was just one game per disc. Because I said most discs we had had 6 to 12 games on it, right? Well, this one only could fit that one game. I'm not sure why it was so big. But one day the game went missing, and I almost thought I made the game up in my head. Like, did I really play this game? Because I can't find it anymore. So years later, after my dad had tore out the flooring, where we used to play the games, there was a space underneath the cupboards. Again, the space wasn't there until my dad removed the flooring. And lo and behold, we found the disc underneath the cupboards. And we're like, how the hell did this get down here before the flooring was removed? There's no other way to get underneath the cupboards. Like, we checked, was there a hole in the cupboards itself? Nope. Somehow, the game disappeared, ended up underneath there. Poltergeist.
This represents imminent danger for sure.
Now here's definitely a classic game that maybe even some other people might be somewhat familiar with, called The Last Starfighter. Yes, it's based on the movie, the 80s classic movie called The Last Starfighter, where you fight the Kodan Armada with the last remaining starfighter in the, what is it?
Star League!
Yeah, that's it, Star League.
What the shit?
And back then, as a kid, I don't remember the movie at that age. It was like a few years later when I actually remember seeing the movie. And I didn't really put the 2 and 2 together that these two were related. But it didn't matter anyway, because by the time I saw the movie, my Atari was long since broken. The Last Starfighter game is based on the movie, and it's actually a pretty fun game. The funny thing is, when you first start this game, you show up on looks like a surface of a planet, and there's these fighters attacking you, and that's pretty much it. Now, one thing you have to understand is that when we got these games, we didn't get them legit. So, we didn't get any instructions, we didn't get any manual, we got no cover, no box, no nothing. It just came as a disc. So when I saw this first screen and I killed those fighters and nothing else happens, I thought, that's it. I didn't think of pressing keys on the keyboard, I didn't think of doing anything else. I thought, this is it, you fight a few fighters and that's the end of the game? What are these messages popping up saying, the barrier's under attack and your cities are being destroyed? I don't understand. And I eventually figured out, hey, if you press spacebar, you go to a map. And if you press the fire button on a different planet or a different area, you warp to that place. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. So there's more to this game. So yeah, the whole objective is to stop the Kodan Armada. You start off in your galaxy first, and you have to go to each of your planets to make sure that if there is a fleet of ships there, you have to destroy them before they destroy the planet. And enemies range from these little fighters that you fight off with your lasers to these big, like, mothership type things or big city-destroying ships, which hurt you a lot more. You had to use a different weapon to destroy them. To these huge motherships that have, like, a super laser on them that kill you in, like, one hit. And I think that mothership is supposed to be the same ship from the movie. And as other ships, so the ones that blow up cities, I have no idea where they fit into the movie. But that's a cool thing. This game itself is more detailed than the movie is. If you did all this stuff in the movie, it'd be a lot cooler, I think. So you start off in your galaxy, fighting off whatever enemies fly into it. And once you kill them all off, no more enemies can fly into your galaxy until they get past that barrier, which you'll see constantly saying, the barrier is under attack. So each time you get that message, you better fly to that point in the barrier and blow up their ship before any enemy vessels can get through. Because if you wait too long, they'll get through the barrier and start attacking your planets again and distract you from your main goal, which is to fly to the enemy's galaxy and blow up the cities on their planets. Once you blow up all the cities on their planets, then they can't get any more reinforcements, and once you kill all the remaining ships after that, or fleets after that, then you beat the game. And I played this game for a couple hours and I beat it all the way through. I figure I might as well post a separate video after all this, just me playing the game from start to finish, just so you see what it's like. But it was a pretty fun game now, as it was back then. It was, again, really different, like strategy based. You couldn't just fly to the enemy galaxy and keep attacking them. If you took too long, they'd be blowing up your cities at the same time. So you really had to pace things out. You really had to make the decision of when to go to their galaxy versus defending yours. So, because you're the only starfighter left, right? But again, yeah, this never happened in the movie, and it's a lot more detailed than the movie in a sense, and it's a really neat game. So, give it a try, and once you play this, go ahead and watch the movie. It's freaking awesome.
We're locked into the moon's gravitational pull. What do we do? We die. Hey, girl, I thought you'd never be. Look at me. Who are you?
Tell me.
No! Let me out of here! Let me out of here!
Let me help you.
No!
This game, Orc Attack, was a little different for its time as well, I felt. This is one of those games that each time you progress through the levels, the gameplay style changed just a little bit. So first of all, you start off playing as this red guard guy, look kind of like an English guard, almost, fighting off, or defending your castle from orcs. At least they're supposed to be orcs. They look like people wearing masks and green clothes, but anyway, they're orcs. And your only weapons at your disposal are boulders or rocks or whatever they are, coconuts, I don't know. You throw on their heads. So the first level is pretty much straightforward. These orcs running around with crossbows and ladders trying to get at you while you're throwing rocks at their heads and keeping them at bay. However, the first level, their ladders are never long enough. In fact, I don't remember seeing a level at all where the ladders are long enough, so I don't see the point. They climb up part of the way and just sit there and wait to get hit in the head. And you gotta hold them off for as long as you can until your weapons change from coconuts to fire bombs, or whatever the hell they are. You throw them on the ground at that point, and the whole ground sets on fire, killing off whoever's left, and you beat the level. As levels progress, you still fight off orcs, but at one point the orcs just start climbing the walls without a ladder, so it makes me wonder why bother with ladders at all if you can just climb up the wall anyway. And if they get to the top, they'll keep attacking your wall there, breaking it down until you run over and grab a sword and pelt him in the head with it until he falls off. And that's the most progress I've seen with that part of the game. But there are other types of levels as well, and they seem to be randomly generated. Like one level might be orcs attacking you, the next level is this wizard dude summoning skulls to come up at you and hurt you. You notice they're pretty slow, which is good because the controls aren't that easy. Like you can't just stop on a dime on an opening between your rocks there, between your towers, and throw your coconuts or whatever they are. But if you see a skull coming up at you, if it's coming up toward one of the rocks here, then you won't get hit no matter what. Whereas if it comes up at an opening between the rocks, even if you're not standing at that spot when it comes up, you'll still get hurt. So you gotta kill the skulls that are coming up at the openings, at the same time pelting the wizard with rocks until he dies. The other type of stage is this weird-looking, super tall troll dude shooting laser beams from his fingertips. You just gotta throw rocks on his head until he dies. That's pretty straightforward. So, but yeah, again, it was a different type of game for its time, and I played this a lot. But I couldn't get past the point. Like, I couldn't get past like level 7 or 9, I think is the highest I've ever gotten, until I get slaughtered. So, and your head falls off when you die, which is really nice. You get 3 lives. You continue from where you left off, so it's pretty neat. And that's Orc Attack. Bruce Lee. I really loved this game. It was so much fun, mostly for the multiplayer value. 2 players, of course. But the reason I like the multiplayer in this game compared to any other game is that it's like, you take turns being the good guy, which you could do actually. You do 2 players as in you take turns playing Bruce Lee, so when you die, the second player takes over and gives it a try. But you could have it so that the 2 players meant you played the good guy, Bruce Lee, and the enemy played Bolo, the bad guy, the big fat guy who makes a roaring sound when he enters the stage. Yeah, just like that. I don't remember Bolo doing that in the movie, but I swear I read up on this somewhere, and he's supposed to be Bolo from, like, Enter the Dragon.
Bolo. Go! Go!
Yep, turns out I was wrong. I did some research after this video was made, actually, and came to the realization that the green fat guy is, in fact, not Bolo. I'm not sure where I got the friggin' idea that he was. I know I read it somewhere, but I cannot find out for the life of me now. Maybe I just made it up in my head. So I went on Wikipedia. It says the Green Yamo, which is his name, the Green Yamo, is a sumo wrestler who attacks with punches and kicks.
The Green Yamo.
Not Bolo. I don't know where I got that from. But for the sake of argument, since I already made this video and made the whole thing about Bolo, I'm going to keep it that way, but I was wrong. It's not Bolo. It's the Green Yamo. And the ninja's a ninja, though. And he attacks you with a ninjato, which I guess is like a katana, but not quite. It's a ninja sword. Anyway, I thought I'd let you know. So, whatever. So, you could play as a bad guy, and I thought it was really neat. So while you're trying to play as Bruce Lee doing this obstacle course and collecting lanterns, that's the whole point. You collect lanterns on each stage and progress further through. You could play as Bolo and try and piss him off and stop him. But then more often than not, whoever played Bolo ended up trying to help out the first player, make it easier for them, because the platforming enough is pretty hard to have this fat tub Bolo interrupting you and kicking you in the face, slowing down your progress. So, well, there's also that ninja dude who runs around too. He's a second enemy, which is always AI controlled. You can't stop that, but he's really easy. He barely hurts you at all, actually, and he just takes 2 kicks to the face and he's dead. But the clever thing about this too, with the AI, was that if you thought, okay, well, say you don't have a second player and you don't want Bolo to piss you off the whole time you're trying to play, you'll pick 2 players anyway and have Bolo just sit there. Wrong. If Bolo sits there too long without any movement or interaction from a second player, the AI will take over anyway and resume playing. So it's pretty smart that way. You can't just cheat the system in a sense. You either have to actually have a second player or just play 1 player and tough it out. But in this mode, I'm just playing 1 single player, and I actually played the game all the way through, managed to beat it. Sort of. I kind of cheat by using save states because I just wanted to beat it again. But when I was a kid, I actually beat this fairly. Believe it or not, I was really skilled at these games as a kid. I suck now. But I might pull up another video after this again of me just playing Bruce Lee from start to finish just for the hell of it. But this is a game I used to play a lot with my friends. Multiplayer. It was really fun. But again, it's a really difficult platformer game. Sometimes it's just supposed to be based on one of his movies. I don't remember Bruce Lee going through all this crap in any of his movies at all, but still, it's kind of a neat game. Like, you can, if your attacks are pretty much limited to punching in the face or do your karate kick in the air. And again, Bolo does that too, but it's really odd looking kick that he does. But he's a son of a bitch, really. I hate the AI sometimes. You're just trying to get through this platforming. This big fat tubs runs around, keeps kicking you in the face. It's annoying. But it's a fun game. It really is. Even now, it's pretty fun. You should pick it up. I think there's a non-emulated version of it, like someone who made just an executable. You can run and play it that way. I swear I've found that somewhere. But give it a try. It's a pretty fun game.
Bolo.
You look for things to make us go.
Now this game by far is my absolute favorite game for Atari, no doubt, no questions asked. The best game for Atari, I think. It's called Mule. Before I go any further, I just want to mention how in the Atari version anyway, when the game starts, the Mule, which that thing is supposed to be, looks quite a lot like an AT-AT from Star Wars, doesn't it? I mean, that's the first thing I thought when I saw it as a kid. I'm like, hey, it's a Star Wars game. No, not so much. Just looks a lot like an AT-AT. Anyway, the story with this game is that there's 4 aliens. You play as one of them, or you can play up to 4 players, so each person plays an alien, which is really cool. You're 4 aliens stranded on a planet or left on a planet for a period of 6 months, if not a year, depending on what game mode you pick. There's 2 objectives to this game, really. What you're supposed to do is work it together as a team, help each other survive, collect food, energy, smithore, or mining, what it's called, or crystallite. You're supposed to work together to survive, and you get so many points that the colony is requesting, and then if you get that many points, you win. However, some people, like I like to do sometimes, is be a selfish dick and go all out for myself and win in the aspect that I'm first place, my character has the most stuff, I win. But overall as a colony, if you don't do it right, you've actually lost the game. So even though you're in first place, you technically lost because your colony didn't get as many points as you're supposed to. So there's different ways to play, which is really neat. So let's start from the beginning. First, you pick a character. Now, depending on who you pick, there might be certain perks for each character. For example, if you pick the monkey guy looking guy here, he can run through mountains on the grid no problem, whereas anyone else would be slowed down. If you pick this Birdo guy, he gets extra money, starts off with extra money, or if you pick the humanoid guy, he is better at producing stuff, but he starts off with less money. Some other characters have no perks at all, they just look funny. So you pick your character, and depending if you play with other human players or not, if you don't play with any other humans, then the computer picks those robot-looking dudes. And right away you're dropped off on this planet. Now here is where you pick your plot of land. At the beginning of each round, this random box goes across the screen slowly, and when you press the fire button, you get that land. However, if the computer or the enemy player presses the button first, he may get the place of land. So it can be, you're competing for land here, but you only get 1 box at the beginning of each turn. Now on this space of land, you get to either develop food, energy, mining, or crystallite. Now this is where it's really important to think what kind of land you want to get. If you want to gather food, it's better off to pick a plot of land next to water. If you want to gather energy, it's better off to pick a flat piece of land with nothing on it. If you want to gather mining or do some mining, or get smithore was what it's called, it's better off to pick a plot of land on mountains. Now crystallite can be a pain in the ass. Any spot on the grid could be good for crystallite. You won't know right away. When it's your turn, you have to go to a plot survey place, pick a random spot, and find out if it's good for crystallite or not. You could randomly put crystallite mining there anyway and hope it's good, but you're better to survey it first to make sure. Having said that, the game then starts. You go one at a time. Whoever's in first place goes first, and whoever's in last place goes last. So, on your turn, what could happen first of all is that a random event could occur, whereas a bonus thing will happen to you, like a nice thing where you get extra money or a plot of land, or a bad thing could happen where you lose money or a plot of land. And if you're in first place, most likely a bad thing's going to happen to you. If you're in last place, most likely a good thing's going to happen to you, and blah blah blah. So once that's done, you then start off, you're in the middle of this store looking place. You're like, well, what do I do? Well, first of all, what we're going to do is go buy a mule. And then you want to outfit the mule with whatever you want to do, like produce food, energy, smithore, or crystallite. So if you pick the plot of land near water, you most likely want to do food. So you go outfit your mule with food, walk up to your plot of land, and press the fire button, and he deploys the mule on that plot of land. Pretty simple. Now your question probably is, well, what should I start with? Well, I'll tell you what each thing does first of all, so it gives you a better idea what you think you should do. First of all, you notice this bar on the side here. That's how much time you get per round or per turn. Once that bar is empty, your turn's over. And this bar is dependent on how much food you have. If you're under supplied with food, this bar will be cut in half your next turn. That's bad, right? You want as much time as possible. So you want to make sure you always have enough food to survive. Energy is what causes your mules to work. So if you don't have enough supply of energy, the mules won't work as hard and they won't produce as much food, energy, mining, or crystallite at that time. So you always want to make sure you have enough energy to go around. Smith ore is mostly for money. However, the more smith ore you get, you might want to sell it to the store. Because if you don't, if the store's on a short supply of smith ore, then the cost of mules goes up because that's what is used to make the mules. So again, if they're short supply, the cost of mules goes up. If there's no supply at all, then mules stop being produced, and therefore when your next turn comes along and you want to get a mule to put on your plot of land, there might not be any left, and then you're screwed. So this is where the team player working together comes into effect. You could be a jerk and hoard all the smith ore and not sell any, therefore everyone else is screwed over, or you can work together to make as much smith ore and sell it to the store as much as possible so more mules are made for cheaper. See, this is where it's kind of cool again. You can, depend on how you want to play, be a jerk or work together. Now, Crystallite is purely money-based, and like I said before, I already explained how you determine what plot of land you want to put Crystallite on. Now, the Crystallite mining, I believe, is only available in the Pro or Expert mode. Beginner and Advanced doesn't have it. I could be wrong. I think Advanced might have it too, but I know Beginner mode for sure doesn't. Now, I never explained the difference between Beginner, Advanced, and Expert modes. Beginner mode's only 6 months, which is 6 rounds. And only smith ore, energy, and food are available. In Advanced mode, it's 12 months, which is 12 rounds. It can take a long time. Only again, smith ore, energy, and food are available, but in Expert mode, it's 12 months, and there's crystallite mining available as well. I believe on top of that, too, in Pro mode, the plot selection at the beginning of each round, it goes really, really fast, which it normally does in the other modes as well, but it progressively gets faster, whereas it starts off fast in Pro mode. So, and believe it or not, you also have to consider the amount of time it takes to play this game. You wouldn't think an Atari game would take that long, but this game, even on beginner mode, which is supposed to be 6 rounds, is about, the footage I have, to give you an example, is 40 minutes long. Standard mode was a little over 60. So there's no way to pause this game. I mean, if you have an emulator, you can use save states. You can go back to it whenever. Back in the day, you had to play it all the way through. You couldn't pause it or go back to it, really. So nowadays, if I ever play this game, I just stick to beginner mode because that's all the time I have to play it. So for those who are unfamiliar with this game, who wouldn't mind giving it a shot and they're not too sure what to do, I'll let you know what I do. I'm no pro at this, but just to give you an idea, when you start off, I try to get a piece of property on water, and I make it food, because each turn you get is based on how much food you have. If you don't have enough food, your rounds are shorter, so I just do that first to get it started off. And from there, I kind of just balance it out. I make another one. The next turn I make energy. The turn after that, maybe I'll make smith ore if I get some mountains. Otherwise, sometimes I'll just play strictly food and energy, because I know computer players or other players sometimes don't bother. They just go strictly smith ore just to rack up the points. That's the best way. So I'm the one who's on supply and demand here, who's giving everyone food and energy if we're properly working together. So anyway, once you pick a mule, put it in your property, you still might have time left to go investigating around the grid. You might see once in a while this little cave icon or a little hole pop up in the mountain. And what that is a womp, I think it's a womp rat? I forget. If you get to that cave icon in time while it's flashing, you actually get bonus money. So if you have time to kill, I would go around looking for that cave, capture the monster that's in there and get some money. Otherwise, before time's up, you can go back to the city and go to the pub and gamble and get money that way. If you run out of time completely, you get nothing. Your time's just up. And once everyone's had their turn, a random event will occur. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. There could be energy output, there could be pirates that come in and take your smith ore, there could be a spider that eats all your food, you name it. A meteorite that smashes your property. Random event always occurs here. And after that, you go to the market screen or the trade screen. So here again is where you can work together and trade supplies with each other to keep each other going, or be a jerk and hoard everything, or sell everything to the store, whatever you want to do here, really. So say you don't have enough food this round, you can always go to the store and buy more, or buy it from somebody else. Same with energy. Same in mining, though. No one ever buys mining supplies. Not really. I mean, I never have, but maybe it's clever to buy some sometimes. Because one of the random events that could occur is a store catches on fire and everything's lost. So you might be completely dependent on each other for supplies. Because if the store lost everything, you can't buy from the store anymore. And at this point, someone can really be a jerk. So say you need more food, there's no store to buy from, and there's a person willing to sell it. He might be a cheapskate and say, okay, I'm not going to sell you any food unless you pay me $500 per food, which is like, big ripoff. And you're like, God damn it, right? So I've never played a game with other people where you've worked together, ever. Everyone's always trying to compete for #1 spot, which I guess is more fun, really. But, because if you beat the game working together as a colony, then all you get is congratulations, right? So who cares about that? So that's it. You go every round getting more land, more things to build on it, and just keeping alive and trying to get either first place or make the colony grow. Until after 6 or 12 months, however long you go for, the mothership returns, picks you up, and the game's over and tells you how you did. So it sounds pretty simplistic, but it's just really fun. Just especially if you're playing with 4 people. If you're playing against a computer, it's not so good. I mean, it's not bad. Sorry, I shouldn't say, but it's more fun to play with real people and screw each other over. In fact, this game became so popular that they remade it for free for PC. And I just came across this, well, within the last year. I had no idea they remade this game, like with updated graphics and everything for PC. So if you go to www.planetmule.com, you'll see that they completely revamped this game and made it for free for the PC. It's great. I'm glad these people did this. Because I downloaded it a while ago, and it was really fun to be able to play this game online with people. They actually made it so you can play online. It's really neat. So give us a go. Have a look at it. It's free. Why not, right? And it's a fun multiplayer game. My rundown of it's kind of really brief, but still, it's not much to it. It's fun. Of course, when I played online with these people, they're super pro and kicked my ass, but I don't care. It was still fun to be able to play with people. And I haven't actually completed a full game yet online, so if you ever find me on there, which I forget what my name is anyway, I think it's Guardiane, I probably have no points because I don't have time to do anything. So whenever I try and play around to this online, I end up having to quit right in the middle of the game and I get no points at all. So it's fun. Check out the website, play it, and let me know what you think. If you're willing to play a game, maybe I'll start playing too, who knows. So that's it. That's my personal top 10 for Atari. While I continue talking here, I'm going to show you some honorable mentions. You have to remember this was my personal top 10, not like the world top 10 of what everyone else felt to be the best Atari games ever. You know, like your typical Pac-Man, Zaxxon, Joust, Berserk, you name it. Those games I did play a lot as well when I was a kid, but again, they honestly weren't my top 10. They were fun, but I prefer these other games that I just showed you. Plus, going back in time, I'm sure there's a lot of games I forgot about that I used to play as well that you never saw. Either I couldn't find emulated versions of it, or I just plain out forgot what they were. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry again, it took so long to come out with. I'm going to try and stay on top of these things now. Next, I'm going to do top 10 for the NES, and maybe do a worst games episode here and there, just to try and break it up a little bit. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you have no.
Da-da, 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 da-da.
Why you no wear uniform?